this is such a sad story, a horrifying development in a story we first talked about here weeks ago on the Damage Report. A little girl missing from Houston, 4-year-old Maleah Davis. Sadly, she has been confirmed dead. The medical examiner confirms her remains were actually found in Arkansas 1 month after she went missing. On Friday, law enforcement officials in Fulton, Arkansas, they said a road crew found a black bag with a foul odor and inside were bones and blood. Community activist Quanell X out of Houston, who advocated for Maleah's mother, Brittany Bowens, told ABC 13 Eyewitness News of the discovery. And hours earlier, he actually told reporters that the suspect in the disappearance, Derion Vence, confessed that the girl died by accident and told him her body was in Arkansas, was dumped in Arkansas. Derion Vence is this little girl's mother's ex-fiance. He is still in jail. He has been in jail since May 11th. Right now, he's only charged with tampering with a corpse, excuse me. And you may remember in this story initially, Vence said that she was kidnapped while in his care. He said some men came, knocked him over the head, kidnapped him, but then dropped him and his son off and took the little girl, and he went to the hospital with his son. And this was all while this little girl was in his care. Her mom was out of town for a funeral. Police later found the little girl on surveillance video with him and found blood evidence in his apartment. So they were able to arrest him and charge him with tampering with a corpse. And there's been a lot of talk about this story. We talked to an attorney specifically about this and about potential charges, and a lot of people want the mother to be charged because he was abusive, and she had admitted that he had been abusive to the little girl. He had been abusive to her, and she wanted to get away, but she still left out of town and left the little girl with him in his care. But also, she has been a victim of abuse her whole life, and so then there's that argument in this. This is another one of those stories that I want to keep going. I feel so awful for this little girl, thinking about how terrible her life must have been and like those last moments and how scary, and nobody deserves this.
No, it's awful. I may have an unpopular opinion here, but I do think the mom should be held accountable. I'm tired of reading stories about women whose children end up dead because of their poor choices. And listen, when you say to somebody, well, she was abused, a lot of us have been abused. That does not give you an excuse. It doesn't relieve you of culpability. You left your daughter with a man who had already abused your child, and you didn't report it for 24 hours. You didn't report it until the following day. Another child was with this man who has a history. This is, how deep the rhetoric that's going on in this country and the divide and the conquer. And he said it was Mexicans who kidnapped the little girl. That is how much the use of language that this administration has put into our climate, that people now say Mexicans, and it instantly makes people like, oh, they must, because they're rapists and they're murderers. People are going to believe that some Mexicans kidnapped because they have human trafficking at the border.
That was part of his shield. You're completely right. But yeah, that was part of his shield, using that as a way, because I think he knew that there was a chance that the fact that his story was flimsy would be overlooked by this desire to hate Latin Americans.
Yeah, and to put that out there. And, I just think that everybody needs to be held accountable. If it was a mistake, Quanell X, assalamu alaikum, brother. If it was a mistake, then the crime is not just in the actual murder, but in the covering up, the lying of it, the creating this false story, putting police out there and using taxpayers' dollars to look for criminals that don't exist because it's a lie. There's so much part of this whole story. And at the end of the day, for me, our young black girls, who are often the victims of so many crimes. You see it with R. Kelly. They call you, you're out to destroy black men when you defend young black women. No, that there is an agenda in America that is oppressive to black men, and there is an agenda that ignores the lives of black women. And this is not okay, young black girls. So for me, I think he should go to jail, and I think she should go to jail. And do we want sympathy for them? Absolutely. While they're serving time for being negligent in the loss of a life of a child that they were responsible for caring for.
I do just like often like how many aspects of his abuse was he helped in hiding it? You know what I mean? By systems around them. Was there a daycare worker? Was there, and not that this would be their fault, but I just wonder, how we're used to seeing dysfunction so much that people on the outside didn't know that this was alarm. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
She knew something was wrong. She didn't want to say it because she probably felt that she might look guilty because she is guilty because she left her child with an abuser.
And now we have a 4-year-old girl who won't ever turn 5. It's just a sad story. Just every time we see pictures of her, this is a sad story. And I'm thinking about her.
Me too.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
So if I'm,
And you're a mom, so I get it.
No, I just think I watch the cases over and over again of all these little black girls who come up missing. I have the privilege of being brown in America, which is supposed to be something, but I don't even know what it's like to be, an African-American black girl in America. And life for me ain't been no crystal stairs. So when I think about these cases, I think about how many young black girls get overlooked, who get missing and don't get reported. It doesn't become a national issue. There is no Maleah alert, there's an Amber alert. You know what I mean? So when I think about all of this stuff, at some point we're gonna have to get into the nitty-gritty and start holding people accountable for everything that they do to our children.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.